Okay, here we are on day 5, and let us get it done. Um, what is problem day 5? Come across a field of hydrothermal vents in the ocean floor. These vents constantly produce large opaque clouds, so it would be best to avoid them if possible. They tend to form in lines. The submarine helpfully provides a list of nearby lines of vents. 09 to 59, 80 to 08. So on each line of vents given a line segment in the format x1, y1 to x2, y2, where the coordinates line segments include the points at both ends. In other words, entry like this includes that. For now, only consider horizontal and vertical lines. So the horizontal and vertical lines from the above list would produce the following diagram. The top left corner is 0, 0, the bottom right corner. Each position shows the number of lines that cover that point, or period if no line covers that point. The top left pair of ones, for example, comes from 2, 2 to 2, 1. The very bottom row is formed by the overlapping line. To avoid the most dangerous areas, you need to determine the number of points where at least 2 lines overlap. The above example is anywhere in the diagram with the 2 or larger. Consider only horizontal and vertical lines. At how many points do at least 2 lines overlap? Okay, so let's do a few things here. We will use data classes again. So from data classes, import data class. And let's put this here, and let's think about this. And we're going to create a class for a line, which will be a data class. Why will it be a data class? I'm not sure. Maybe it shouldn't be a data class. But let us do from typing import name tuple. So actually, you know what? I'll just, if I use name tuples for one thing, I'll use name tuples for another thing. So class point named tuple. That is what I wanted. Okay, so that's good enough. And then line, I will also have be a name tuple, just because I'm going to use a name tuple, and I don't think I need to mutate it. And it will have a start, which is a point, and an end, which is a point. And then I want to do a few things. Is horizontal. Okay, so it wants me to do horizontal line. So a line is horizontal if the start y and the end y are the same. So that's true. And it knows that I would like to do it as vertical. So that's good too. I'm just curious about which are the ones that don't match. 80208. 34 to 1400 to 8855 to 82. Okay, so 55 to 82 is going to be really interesting, actually. But def points on line self is going to yield points. Right. That's actually smart. What it suggested I do is to check is horizontal, and I think I do want to do that. And this is not quite right because they might be in the wrong order, right? So I'll say low equals min of self dot start x, and high equals max. And then what I'm going to do is if it's a horizontal line, I'll iterate from low to high plus 1. And otherwise, if it's vertical, then low equals the smaller of the y's, high equals the larger of the y's, and then y in. So let me delete this and see if it comes up with it now. For y in range low high dot 1, yield point self dot start to x dot y. That's right. And then else Okay, that is what I wanted to do, so that's good. Okay, um, and uh, and then the final thing is I want to do is I want to be able to parse. So I'll do a static method, parse raw, which is a string, and it's going to do a line. And let's see if it figured this out correctly. Start comma end equals I don't like map, so I'm going to rewrite that part. But let's see. Actually, let me write a parse into point, and that will make it easier. Static method, def parse raw string, not an iterator point. I just want point. XY equals. Okay, so this is wrong because it's taking. It's taking, I see what it's doing. It's taking the whole thing and trying to get a point out of it, but I don't want that. I just want to split on the comma, and okay, so that's good. And so now what I want to do is and this is actually, let's just say start raw and raw equals that, and return line. Good. So that's what I want to do, right? I'll parse that. And now let's say line equals line dot parse raw. Oh, but I still need to do actually, right, so that's not right. So now what I need is I need to let's do covered point. So I'm going to use a collections counter for this. From collections import counter. And now what I want to do is I want to do def, what is this thing called? Vents, number of lines, number of points anywhere the two of larger. How many? Let's call it count vents, I think. Count vents, lines, which is not an iterator of line, it's an iterable of line, and it's going to be an int. Okay, so that's good, so let me get iterable, because it's probably going to be a list usually when I call it, not an iterator. So we want to count the vents, and HV only equals true. That's good. For line in lines, or let's say count equals counter of point, that's right. For line and lines, that's right too. For point in line, points on line. And so this logic is wrong. Why is it not giving me? So if not HV only, or line is horizontal, let me just change that to an any of so if it's not HV only, then we count the line. If the line is horizontal, we count the line, and if the line is vertical, we count the line. Count vents. and return sum of, so that's the right logic. That's not how I would write it. I would say sum count greater than equal, I'll write greater than equal to 2 for count and counts.values, right? Okay, and so now let's say lines equals line.parse raw, assert that count vents lines equals 11. So let's go back and see. This should be 5. So let's go back and do 5. Let's try to run it. So this is a bit funny, but I need to change the order of these two, right? So I need to check that this is the case before I try to call points on line, because right now points on line isn't even implemented if the line is not horizontal or vertical, right? So this is one thing that for a long time I actually didn't know you could do this in comprehensions, but you can actually mix the ifs and fors in any order you want to. So here I'm going to say for each line, check that I would include the line, and then go over the points on that line. So this, I think, should fix the error that I just got. Nope, I was wrong. It did not, because I don't think I saved it. Okay. Okay, so that passed the test, so that's good. So now, let's get our puzzle input. I'm sure in part 2 they're going to ask us to do it for lines that are not horizontal or vertical, so that's kind of why I wrote it the way that I wrote it. I'm not actually looking super forward to it, because I think it's going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass, but good. Okay, so now if name equals main, it does this every day, huh? Raw equals open data day 05 dot text. I really hate that it does this. Okay. Lines equals line dot parse. That's right. And then print count vents line. So it's smart enough to know that that's what I want to do. So let us 5,169. So let us 5,169. It is the right answer. I need part 2. Good. Unfortunately, you need to diagonal lines because it limits the lines egress will only ever be horizontal or a diagonal line exactly 45 degrees. In other words, entry like this would now produce the following diagram. You still need to determine the number of points where at least 2 lines overlap. Okay, so only 45 degrees is pretty good. So now we can just go back and fix this. Otherwise, and let's see how, nope, okay, the line is 45 degrees. Okay, so if that's the case, it should, right, so we can't use the same logic. Okay, yeah, thanks, that's not helpful, raise not input error. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to do x low equals min of self dot start x, x high equals and then actually let me do something. I'll do that. That's fine. And say this is either going to be slopes up equals okay. Does the line slope up or down? So let's see if that helps it figure it out. That's not right. So it's going to slope up if self.end.y minus self.start.y. I need that to have the same sign as the so let me do this. Dx equals, yep, and dy equals. So it's funny, right? Like, if I break it down into more steps, that makes it easier for Copilot to do what I want to do. And so that makes me break it down into more steps than I might otherwise, because I don't want to, basically I don't want to type out all this stuff, right? And slopes up equals, it's not, so they need to have the same sign. So that's really dx times dy is bigger than 0. Okay. Um, um, and so now what I want to do is I want to say for x in range, and let's say for I in range, I'm going to get this wrong, x high minus x low plus 1. Let's see if it gets this right. X equals x low plus I. Okay, so that's true. And that's going to get me, and y, I lost, y equals self.y plus I. This interface is a little bit challenging. Okay, so this is right. This is not right. Plus I times 1 if slopes up, else minus 1. And then I want to yield point x comma y. Okay, so let's think about what I did here. As I said, I need to go x high minus x low plus 1. So if I'm going from minus 5 to plus 5, then that's going to go from 0 to 10, so range 11, and then at each time I just actually this is not right either, because I think this is right. If I start at the lower x and I slope up, then yes, I think this is okay. We'll try it. So count vents, lines, HV only equals false. We'll try it. I don't know if it works or not, but now equals a total of 12 points. So let's close. All right. Okay, so that works. So that probably is right. I'm a little bit not super thrilled with how ugly that logic is, but anyway, we'll try it. 14,293. That's not the right answer. Answer is too low. Okay, so let me think about this. Let me make sure I've got both kinds too. 5, 5 to 8, 2. Okay, so let me do this. Print self, and then print point x, y, and let's check and see how that works. And then let me comment this out and run it and see what I did wrong. Okay, so 80 to 08. So, okay, well I can see obviously that this is not right already. So 80 to 08, let's see if these are all wrong. 64 to 20. Okay, well that's wrong too. I don't know how my unit test passed then. This one is good. And this one is also good. So let's think about each. I mean, it's good that these failed because then that tells me that that I did something really stupid, right? Print dx dy slopes up. So this one slopes up. Okay, this one. Okay, so the slopes up thing is right. So it looks like it's actually the computation that is not right. So let's look at that computation. And unfortunately, this is really hard to read at the same time as the other thing. So let's see how I got my logic wrong on this one. So let's look at this first one, 80, because I started at start y, and okay, I see the problem. The problem is, let me do this, x equals x low, and y equals self.start y if x low equals self.start x, else self.end y, right? So I want to start x and y at the right place. And then what I want to do is I want to yield the point, and then x plus equals 1, and y plus equals 1. Okay. So I think that fixes my my broken logic. So let's run this again and see what happens. If let's start dot x. Okay. Let's try this again now. So now we have 80 to 08, and I need to print before I increment everything. Okay, so here I have 0, 8 to 80. Here I have 64 to 20. Here I have 00 to 88, and here I have 55 to 82. So now it looks good. Let me comment those out. And now let me run it again. 22083. So let's try that. That is the right answer. Okay, good. So obviously you could see that I screwed up the first time by making a really simple mistake, which is I didn't start y at the right place. Like I started x at the smaller of the x values, but then I started y at whichever one I had arbitrarily called start. You know, what I probably should have done is I probably should have fixed this so that the smaller x value, basically so that you always iterated from the first to the second, right? So in a horizontal case, you'd want the left-hand point first, in a vertical case, you want the lower point first, and in the diagonal case, you also want the leftmost one first. And then I wouldn't have had to worry about which one was the start and which one was the end, because it would have just been start really would have been the start. But I did not do that. Or sorry, not here, but here where I parsed it. And then I would not have had to worry about this whole x low, x high, low high, etc. So that was a little bit of a maybe data modeling error. But other than that mistake, again, this is pretty straightforward. Just being careful, iterating, low to high plus one so that you get both endpoints. And then, using counter. Counter is a good trick, your best friend, etc., etc. And yeah, so a reasonable problem. My first screw up, but I'm sure it won't be the last screw up. So thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is a work day, so it'll be probably at the end of the work day, more like 4 or 5 p.m. And yeah.